Hi everyone, welcome back to SGDA Student Game Showcase. We're on the last block, I believe, Block G. We're here with Jog in the Fog from Cal Poly Pomona. I'm Jason again, the SGDA president.
Hi, and I am Nicolette Bond, the event lead, and I'll be moderating this section. And would you be able to introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah. So I'm Josh. I'm just got on my third year at CPP, and I'm a computer science major. And this is my little game that I made for the 2022 Halloween Game Jam at CPP. This was my very first Game Jam game, so it holds a special place in my heart.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you tried to do first complete one or first ever?
First ever.
Wow, and you finished it. Congrats.
Yeah, it was crazy. It's definitely a very different experience. Trying to develop a game within 48 hours. But yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Did you get any sleep?
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a funny story. So basically, it was 48 hours, and so the first day I was like really productive. I got tons of stuff done. This game, it was like almost at the state that it is like at right now. But then, so this was really like I was still very inexperienced when it came to using Git, and so what happened was I was trying to use Git to push, save my game into a repo and then push it to GitHub, do all that stuff. But I did something kind of silly. So I forgot my git ignore, and I'm like, oh, let me add that back in. So I, obviously, being very silly, I typed in the wrong commands, and I ended up wiping my entire folder.
How much had you got done at that point?
Yeah, I mean, it was almost at the point that you see right now.
Oh my gosh!
I was so bummed. I'm like, maybe I'm just quitting the jam. But after a bit of talking myself up, I decided to just rebuild what I had before and then call it there. So as a result, there's not really too much game to the game. You just walk around and, oh yeah, you can throw the flares at the weird, I call them the hot dog guys, and then make them go away.
Hot dog guys?
Yeah, because eventually I had this
literally trying
to...
Yeah.
We were saying that those were so scary when we were testing.
Yeah. I had this big vision of a scary particle monster, but it was getting near the end and I didn't have any enemies, so I'm like, all right, hot dog guys.
No, it's definitely still scary. I remember I kept pronouncing the name of your game wrong because I kept reading it as Jog in the Frog. So I'm thinking for a DLC, you could make a new enemy.
Oh yeah, the frogs.
I'm out of my flares.
No.
Sorry, I need to start asking you the questions on here. So where are you located, and where are you calling in from?
I'm right now I'm in Anaheim, California.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm also LA based. Woo. What was so I know your role. You did everything, right? Are any of these free assets, or did you make all the assets yourself?
No, everything in here, the music, the art, all the code, it's all done by me. The only thing that's not is some of the sound effects. I just looked up one of those 8-bit sound generation sites, and I just messed around with it until I got some sound effects that sounded nice.
What did you make the music in?
A program called Cakewalk. It's decent. I'm not super good at it. The interface is kind of confusing, but yeah.
Well, the music turned out really well for first time using it. And then let's see. How did you get, I already know how you got it started because of the jam, but where'd you get your idea from?
So the theme for this jam was Lost, and I was thinking, okay, Lost, what do I make for that? And then it was a foggy day out that day, and so I was looking out the window. There's a field out behind my house, and I was just staring at it, and I'm like, foggy field. I'm gonna make a game about a foggy field.
It definitely gives that theme, Lost, so well. So,
Thank you.
was it a competitive jam?
I mean, it was kind of competitive. Like there, like technically there was like technically there was like places, but they weren't really like serious. The judging categories were like most sus and stuff like that. So it was just like a more for fun jam.
Feels like a
And
stupid jam.
I did have a lot of fun in it. So
Yeah. And you had a finished project too. Oh, so good. Let's see. Do you have any plans for this game's future development?
I remember it because there were a lot of things that I didn't get to because of that whole hiccup of losing the first day. And then there were things that I wanted to add, but I never got to them later on, like after the jam finished. I do want to come back to this game and like, add some of the things that I missed, like adding slightly more engaging gameplay would be I think would be cool. But I don't know. We'll just have to see whether or not I come back to this project. I think I will, but yeah.
All right. What kind of ideas did you have? Maybe like hint one that you're thinking of.
Well, a better tutorial, because right now it's just like instructions in the back of a page that are like really vague. Because like I wanted to, because I made that silly little poem at the beginning that you saw.
I didn't think it was silly. I liked it.
And then I wanted to make the instructions a poem too, but then that just kind of made them confusing. And I mean, who reads instructions anyways, right? So
yeah.
And then
we'll figure it out.
I also wanted to add like more variation of the baddies, so that it's not just like, you just throw a flare at them and they go away. Maybe they do other things like hide and come back, and you have to throw more flares at them or whatever. Whoa, sneak attack. And also
okay, so maybe like rechargeable like moves, and then you could just like
and then also just like more varied like terrain, background set pieces. Because as of right now, I mean, it's like pseudo random generated. I just have like a bunch of set pieces that are randomly placed around each time you boot it up. And so having some more varied set pieces like that do more things, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, thank you for giving us a little of an idea of what you wanted to add. And what was the most difficult part of the development?
Yeah, so as I think I already mentioned before about that whole Git thing.
So that was it.
That was it. I was feeling so bummed out when I opened up that folder and I saw nothing in it, and I'm like, shoot, man, there's got to be a way to go back. But I didn't. So, a lesson learned: always commit first. Always commit before you do anything, even if you're looking at it as like, oh, I don't need all these files. This is looking a little weird. Just commit first and then fix it up later. That's what I learned from that. But
that's all of our worst nightmares.
Yeah, I still have the folder on my computer. I labeled it "Jog in the Fog Sad." That has nothing in it. As a memorial for the project that once was. Yeah. Also, another thing that was a little tricky was getting the fog to work, like to fade away with like the light and stuff. How I ended up doing that is, okay, so it's a little bit inefficient. My algorithms professor would have like a fit if she saw the way I implemented this. But there's like, I have a big old list that has all of these cloud objects on it, and like every time, like whenever you walk around, it like updates this list, so it moves the cloud objects so that they're all in view. And then every frame, every update, it checks all the flares and then checks all the clouds and checks them against each other and then fades them out accordingly. So it's not very efficient, but at least the effect looks nice. So
damn, she'd forgive you.
Sometimes you just gotta ship the product.
Yeah, it's like O of 3 complexity, and I'm like, oh man.
Let's see. What part of the game are you most proud of?
Most proud of? Let's see. To be honest, I think it's the fog is what I'm most proud of. The second thing is getting the sprites to play nice in 3D, because you'll notice, Unity doesn't really support using sprites in a 3D environment, At least in terms of like lighting and stuff. So you notice like the little character is a sprite, is a two-dimensional sprite, but it casts shadows and it reacts to the light and all that stuff. So I don't have very much experience with shaders, and so basically the shader I've written for that is kind of like a Frankenstein mishmash of some other shaders I found, just like default shaders in Unity's files, and then some other shaders I found online, and somehow it works. So I'm pretty proud of getting that.
Yeah, it definitely works. I was looking at it and I'm like, this is 3D, but this is such a unique. I remember the first thing I thought was this was such a unique style. Like I've seen it before, I guess, in a few games, but it's just executed so well for Jam, especially.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. Has the game changed over time in terms of the original idea?
I mean, not really, because this is just it was a game jam game. And this is the original state it was at as I submitted it. So not really too much. Like I said, I do want to like come back to it and like add all the things that I didn't get to. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe this summer.
maybe. I mean, I have a little more time, so.
And then we can see if you do end up updating it, add it to SGDA server for people to be like, "Hey, this is the updated version he was talking about."
Right.
And do you like this this genre or these themes that you included? And is there anything you find like especially interesting about it?
Definitely for me, the whole overcast foggy theme is very special to me because foggy weather is like my favorite kind of weather, just because it's so mysterious and cool, and so yeah, just I remember I had my in the last like 30 minutes of the jam, I had my brother playtest this game really fast. And I remember telling him like, "Oh, the fog, dude, the fog is so cool," and he's like, "The fog is all right," but I think the fog is pretty cool.
I think the fog is cool. That's a brother for you.
No, but like things that a brother would say, sometimes you need that. He did give me some valuable feedback in the last 30 minutes that I adjusted a few things.
Magna also says the fog is cool.
Oh, thank you. The fog, I think, is very cool.
Let's see. I wanted to ask. Oh, I lost that question, but I'll come back to my brain. All right. Oh no, that's a repeat question. We already asked that one. So how'd you come up with this this poem format for this beginning screen?
It was just, so what happened was, I made the menu screen, and it was literally just that logo that you see and then start and instructions. I'm like, there's so much empty space here, it needs something. And so I'm like, what if I put something here? And so I started typing, and I'm like, what if I made it a poem? And so I made a cute little poem. It's just because, I mean, the whole name of the game is kind of a joke, because I was like, I was kind of in the early stages of making this game, and during the early stages, I like called up my brother to like say, hey, what do you think of this idea? Like theoretically, if I were to say participate in a game jam and make this my game, what do you think of this? And like we were talking, and like he suggested a name like Jog in the Fog, and I'm like, that's so stupid, but I'm totally stuck with it because I don't know. It's just like, but yeah. And so the poem and the title of the game started out as just like jokes, but I think
it's always best to keep the joke parts in the game, especially for a jam, wins you points. But as a writer, I really do like that extra touch. So good thing you added it. And then was there any game inspiration, anything that comes to mind that inspired you aside from just the fog, like other games?
Not really. Nothing really comes to mind right now. I think using like the 2D sprites in a 3D world, I'd seen that before in a different game. it's slipping my mind right now.
I know, same thing happened to me. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, what was it?
But yeah, that's why I decided to go with that kind of art style. Man, I can't remember what that game was called. But yeah, it was a 2D sprites in a 3D environment kind of thing.
I think I'm running out of my questions.
All right.
So I will probably ask Snat, we can maybe wrap up as we prepare for the next one. But first, did you want to do any shout outs? Let people know where to contact you?
Let's see. I mean, I do have a LinkedIn. I'm Joshua Lai on LinkedIn, but you'll probably not find me if you look that up. So I guess I could put a link somewhere. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have any other socials besides that. So
you can pop in the LinkedIn when you put your game in the student showcase game section.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I'm Orban number 2495 on Discord. If you want to contact me there. So I still haven't updated my username, but
very creative username. But thank you so much, and this is really cool to see. And yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right. The next game that we'll have up is Curse of the Corsair from Yumish, so stay tuned to that. We'll see y'all later.